following video is brought to you by YouTube, where YouTube Kids is probably more popular with pedophiles than actual children.
It's that special time again, ladies and gentlemen. Wheel of Discourse! Let's see which controversial subject we're discussing today. Wheel of Discourse, around it goes. Where it stops, no one knows. Today's subject is wind versus electricity.
I don't know if you know this, but Sonic is fast. Very fast. Sonic lives for speed. He's the embodiment of speed. He may even be on speed for all we know. Super speed has been a staple in fiction for decades. Characters like the Flash, Quicksilver, Speedy Gonzales. Because of this, there's been many unique ways of portraying super speed visually throughout history, and Sonic is no different. Sonic's speed has been depicted in many different ways over the years, which isn't that surprising, to be honest. When a character has existed for over 30 years, it makes sense to try and spice things up a little. Not only that, but each game has its own unique style, which means sometimes Sonic's abilities are tailored to fit whatever style of game he's in. But with the release of the Sonic movie back in 2020, there was a shift. In the movie, Sonic's speed is depicted using electricity, which is a common trend with speedster characters. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the movies, but whatever, they're their own thing, they can use electricity if they want. Those films have way bigger problems if you ask me. But the Sonic movie was also incredibly successful and profitable for the Sonic brand. You could even argue it's responsible for saving the series from the pit it was in at the end of the 2010s. But that success can have some unforeseen consequences. Oftentimes when a film based on a well-established IP is successful, there tends to be a lot of brand synergy that can interfere with the original source material. The most famous example recently would probably be how Marvel Comics were changed to better resemble the MCU movies coming out around the same time. With that said, Sonic got off relatively unscathed by the movies. But there was one thing that was integrated into the games. Over the last couple of years, we've seen quite a few instances of Sonic's speed being shown using electricity as opposed to his usual wind motif. So, what exactly is the problem? Is this really worth all the discourse surrounding it? Doesn't it make sense for Sonic to generate electricity with his speed? Does any of it really matter as long as it looks cool? It's a surprisingly nuanced discussion, and if you're familiar with my videos, you probably know which side I'm on. Sonic was always intended to represent the wind. It's a trait that dates all the way back to the first game. I mean, his name is Sonic. You know, like a sonic boom, like a jet. Sonic is a free spirit. He drifts from place to place, he's always on the move, and he does whatever he wants. Sonic is unique because unlike other fast characters, his speed was never really treated as a superpower. It was just a part of him. Sonic isn't a superhero fighting for the greater good, he's just a guy. Any abilities he has are just a part of his natural talents. The Sonic movies, however, explicitly state that Sonic's speed is a power, so it makes sense to depict it using electricity. It's framed as a crazy source of energy that can be used to power Robotnik's machines. It's something he has to learn to control to protect his loved ones. The issue is that movie Sonic is a fundamentally different character to game Sonic, so you can't just transfer his traits to game Sonic without causing inconsistencies. Electricity works for movie Sonic because those movies took the time to establish that part of his identity. Game Sonic already had an established identity, so why do this?
Who cares? It has aura.
Aura without substance is meaningless. Does Sonic look cool with electricity? Sure, but it doesn't mean anything. I love me a big dumb anime fight, but there's always more to it than just the fight. Goku vs Vegeta is cool, but it's elevated by its themes. Goku is the embodiment of hard work, of self-improvement, of pushing yourself past your limits. Having him go toe-to-toe with an elite warrior like Vegeta perfectly encapsulates the magic of Dragon Ball. Let's take a game like Sonic Colors. You could have Sonic destroy the Nega Wisp in a giant over-the-top anime fight where he transforms into Super Sonic 3 or something, and it'd probably be really cool. But having each of the Wisps join you one by one for a final attack is so much more impactful because it understands the story's themes and what makes Sonic's character work. It's about freedom. Sonic is freedom. Free as the wind. Get it? The fight against the Razor Jin works because while it's very satisfying to punch an evil genie in the heart, the whole fight encapsulates the theme of the game. It's about embracing negative emotions and standing up to abusers that take advantage of you. There's a reason Sonic only absorbs the world rings that embody negative emotions. He's fighting on behalf of Shara, using her negative emotions to defeat her abuser so she can finally heal from her trauma. Now I suppose there's no reason they couldn't do this with the electricity motif, but they haven't. It's a purely aesthetic change and a pretty unnecessary one at that. What does electricity say about Sonic's character that wind doesn't? You can have big anime fights and keep Sonic's wind motif intact. There are plenty of other characters that use electricity as a motif. Characters like Shadow, Metal Sonic, Sage, and the one thing they all have in common is that they're a direct contrast to Sonic. They're all artificial, but Sonic is the real deal. Sonic is a force of nature. What better way to contrast that than wind versus electricity? I think one of the worst aspects of this discussion is the complete refusal to engage with it in good faith. That's not an issue exclusive to this topic, but it's definitely the most prevalent here. There's a general disregard for the concept of Sonic being like the wind because... well, I don't know. I mean, it's not exactly subtle, is it? Most character bios make reference to it, it's directly stated in the games, they made an entire game dedicated to it.
Wind that blows free!
Wind?
The wind. Wind! I'm not of the wind.
You shall be known as Sir Sonic, Knight of the Wind. And sometimes electricity, I guess. I'm sorry, but if you genuinely think the wind motif is irrelevant to Sonic's character, you are just wrong. There's no other conclusion I can come to. Ugh, those stupid Japanese purists just hate fun. Sonic is Sonic! Look, I know every type of Sonic fan has that small vocal minority that takes things too far. I know you're sick of this discussion, I know you're tired of the discourse, but that doesn't invalidate the points being made. It is important for the Sonic series to stay true to its roots, to maintain that distinct spirit that drew us to it to begin with. You can like Sonic's electricity, you can even prefer it to the wind, that's totally fair, but you should at least be able to understand where this discourse comes from and acknowledge that there has been a conscious choice to change how Sonic Speed is presented, even if you like it. So when all is said and done, does any of this really matter? Is it really that big of a deal? Well, maybe not on its own, but it's indicative of a growing concern many fans are having with the series going forward. These changes are small, but how much can you change before you lose the soul of the character? Like if the next game came out and Sonic was just green now, wouldn't you have some questions? That's an exaggeration, obviously, but I hope you see my point. How big does a change have to be for it to be considered an issue? Well, I imagine that would be subjective. But these changes were made intentionally, it wasn't an accident. They'd need to be conceptualized, pitched, and approved. Any change, no matter how small, is important and worth discussing. So, can wind and electricity coexist? I mean, I guess, but isn't it kind of redundant? The wind has always been Sonic's thematic core. It doesn't just represent him, it represents the series as a whole. The freedom, the adventure. You can have electricity as a visual element, I suppose, but it doesn't carry any thematic weight, or at the very least has never been presented as such. All it really does is make Sonic less unique, and I think that's a shame. Whether this trend will continue or not, who knows? The series is more popular now than it's ever been. Maybe it's naive to want the series to maintain its original vision when it has so many eyes on it now. Change is inevitable whether we like it or not. I just hope Sonic's core doesn't get lost in the process. So for now, I guess I'll just sit back and see which way the wind blows. Or the electricity. Do you see the problem?